Welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Rodriguez. And today we're back with another episode on this beautiful Friday. Ooh, we made it to Friday. What a day. So we got a couple topics to talk about today. Going to be just a basic MLB news update, some stuff that's been going on around the league, as well as some trade things I've seen kind of in the rumblings around, and wanted to kind of break those down and see what I feel. I know obviously you see a lot of different stuff on Twitter. You see a lot of different stuff on Instagram. A lot of that, can't believe a lot of it's just dudes talking out their ass. So I did find, obviously I'm not saying Bleacher Report is a end all be all, but they have some pretty interesting ideas on where they think some guys are going to land. And I was going to review that towards the end of the episode. So if you want to hear about some potential trade lands, stick around. But starting it off today, we have to talk about it because everyone's going to talk about it today. There's no way they don't. I'm almost speechless that I have to even bring this up. But the Yankees, and I know everyone's probably tired. Oh, this guy's talking about the Yankees again. Look, the Yankees have been a hot topic for anyone who's doing baseball right now, because they have not done anything really since 2009. That's the last time they won the World Series. That was with, the legendary staff. You had Derek Jeter, Hideki Matsui, Bernie Williams, Alex Rodriguez, Jorge Posada, Mariano Rivera. I mean, that team was legendary all the way through. Haven't seen a team like that in the Bronx in a long time. This was the first year, at least, going into the season, I was hell worried because the whole thing happened with Cole. I was pumped. We got Soto, we had Verdugo, we got Stroman. You had some pretty good pieces. The whole thing was a little worrisome, but then they just came out the gate just hot. I mean, hot. The hottest I think we've seen any team this year start off, right? Leading the AL East by a long shot. They're in first place by a lot, and then slowly but surely that lead just started dwindling. And not like it was like a huge lead, because the Orioles are a great ball club and they've been kind of just right up the Yankees' ass the entire year. But for the first time this year, the Yankees have fallen out of first place. And shocking, no. I mean, if you look at the games they've been playing, they deserve to be dropped out of first place. It's not like it was a shock. I mean, they do have 52 wins. The Orioles only have 51, but the winning percentage is what's going to put them in first, as they are even technically in the standings. But I'm at a loss for words on the Yankees right now. I really don't know what's got to happen, what's got to change. I am at it feels like it's on the verge of just absolutely collapsing on itself, and we're back at where we were last year. But at the same time, God, every morning something I think it's my hair. I don't know what needs to change, what needs to happen. The pitching is clearly not working right now. Pitching is rough. Hitting is even worse. It's just, you got Gleyber Torres, who's been benched because he's just not getting it done. Error after error, no production at the plate. I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess any way you split it. I mean, they got swept by the fucking Mets. Though the Mets are coming into something. I will say that. I talked about it. They ever since this Grimace thing, they've been a completely different ball club. I will say that. So, and obviously no slack to the Mets. They have a lot of talent. They just, for some reason, can never put it together. And right now they're riding a hot streak. So not like taking a shot at the Mets by any means. When I say like, oh, the Yankees got swept by the Mets, what the fuck? No, I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying like, well, you got swept. After, that's the fourth series I think they've lost in a row. At that point, they're now down 2 again against Toronto, who has been just smacking them around the park. Toronto, yeah, believe me, I'm just as shocked as you are. I don't know. It's you got Judge in the lineup. You have Soto in the lineup. You've got your best guys out there. I think the only guys that are really missing right now is Stanton and Rizzo, which Rizzo was non-existent anyway. He wasn't going to be making that big a difference. We could, but if we were going on the same trajectory he was showing us before he got hurt, I mean, it wasn't going to make that big a difference. Stanton was mashing. I'll just say that. But I mean, one bat in your lineup of these guys is not going to change anything. So they've been having Grisham in there. Grisham's still hitting the ball well. Can't say anything about him. He's come in and done what he can in his spot. So, but the point is like, I don't know what's got to happen with the Yankees. What's got to change? Obviously, they're going to have to be buyers at the deadline. They have to be. I would imagine they're even sellers for some pieces. Honestly, like whatever they had at the beginning of the year, that mojo. Whether it's in a lull or it's just gone completely, I don't know. But what a turn of events for the Yankees, man. What a turn of events. Just disappointing to say the least. I mean, they're on geez, last 10 games, they're 2-8. That is with the Red Sox below them at 8-2 in the last 10 games. So, I mean, it's you can't really, there's no room to slack here for New York. I mean, they got the Red Sox slowly behind them, 7.5 games back. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. Yankees are 2-8. Orioles are 4-6 in their last 8 games. So, last 10 games. So not great either. But at the same time, something's got to change, or the Yankees are going to drop below the Red Sox sooner or later. So had to bring that up. Had to talk about it. It's a big piece in the news right now, just because they have had such a great run this year, and then all of a sudden they hit this spot where Rodon can't pitch. Stroman can barely. I mean, Rodon had struggled last year, but was phenomenal in Chicago. And then I'm just thinking New York's not the place for him, to be 100,000% honest. And it is like that for a lot of people. It's like that for a lot of people. New York, you just can't perform in New York. It's one of those things. It's almost like a mental block. You've got guys like Joey Gallo who just didn't perform well, couldn't hack it, and many, many, many more before him. And now here's Rodon, who was a stud in Chicago, and then for some reason just gets to New York and forgets how to pitch. But we will move on. But hopefully the Yankees can just piece something together, get some momentum on their side. They went out and got JD Davis, which I don't think was a smart buy by any means. I don't know what that was about. He's a sub-average player. I get you have a hole at first base, but goddamn, man, sell some pieces and get a real, like a legitimate, a guy who can get you back into the contention of winning a fucking World Series. I don't think JD Davis is that piece. And a lot of other people don't think he's that piece. That was the most random, weird, makes no fucking sense trade. I get you have a hole at first base. I get you brought up the young Ben Rice, but JD Davis was never the answer. He was never the answer. And it's still showing that he's not the answer because we continue to lose ball games. So them thinking that we have a hole at first base, if we fill the hole at first base, we'll be all right, it's more than that. It's way more than that. So we're going to see. On to my next point. We're going to talk about the Phillies. Last night, and this is the most unfortunate thing. I'm a huge Bryce Harper fan. I've said this a lot. I've said it a lot. I've been a fan of Bryce Harper since he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 16 years old. Love watching the kid play. Stud all the way through. Last night in the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs to end the fucking game. Bryce Harper here rolls over, hits a ground ball to first base. He's running to first, and it looks like he pulled his hamstring. It looked pretty bad. I don't know what it was, but like to happen at the end of a game when the out doesn't even matter is what stings even more. So they haven't announced if he's going to miss, how much time he's going to miss, or what's going on. He did say at the end of the press conference, he goes, "Well, I've never felt anything like this before." In fact, let's see what the news is saying, because I haven't, I've just watched from MLB Network last night, and kind of a few interviews that I saw on Twitter this morning. I haven't delved into like what the media is saying, if there's any official like diagnosis. Yeah, he limps off the field. He's never felt anything like that. When someone says they've never felt like anything like this before, it's probably not a good sign, like at all. Funny enough, he was just elected to be the starter for the National League, I think. I mean, I haven't seen anything. That doesn't look like they have anything. They're just going to get an image tomorrow and see what it looks like and go from there. But he was saying even at the end of the game in the locker room that it was still hurting. So that's not good. And on top of that, they lost Kyle Schwarber in the same game as well, who's been mashing for them. So am I worried? Is it time to like, what are the Phillies going to do? The Phillies have battled through injuries all year long. They've battled with losing Trey Turner for a month and a half. They've battled from a lot of other guys, some pitching guys, Taijuan Walker, who was hurt for a while. So the Phillies, have a good farm system. They have a deep farm system. They're still a great team without Harper. He's a big bat in the lineup. He's still the team's still great. The team's still going to be good. Kyle Schwarber, another blow to the lineup, but I think they're going to be okay. A lot of people are like, well, are we worried? They still got they got Realmuto, they've got Baum, they've got Stott, they've got Turner, they've got XYZ. They have a lot of guys else that can fill in those spots and kind of pick it up where the holes are. So I'm not worried about the Phillies. Does it suck for Bryce Harper? And I'm hoping he doesn't miss. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, he just pulled a hamstring. Obviously, Bryce Harper knows his body better than anybody. He's dealt with quite a few injuries in his career so far. I'm sure he's going to be fine. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. It's bad for baseball if Harper's out the game. So We want him in. We want him missing as minimal time as possible. It just stings more because it was at the literal last out of a game when it didn't matter. They were down by a bit. His hit, whether he got on base or didn't, wasn't going to change the outcome of that game. And here we are saying, motherfucker, this dude's hurt. Schwarber as well. But all honesty, I think the Phillies are fine. I think that this may blow over. Maybe he misses a week at the worst. Obviously speculating here, so don't take that word for word. I'm not reporting anything. I'm thinking hopefully it's a pulled hamstring, pulled muscle, and he's back out there in a week or so. So we'll see. But in other news, I think that the Phillies are going to be fine. I don't think there's any issues there. I don't think there's anything that's really going to hinder them besides the fact there's a little bit of production value gone. But they're going to be fine. Now, my next topic before we get into the trades and these crazy ass trades I've been reading about is JP France. So I've been talking about the Astros. I'm not the biggest Astros fan. In fact, for a while there, I really loathed the Astros. I was not a fan of their club. I was not a fan of their business aspect of things, how they handle things for certain players. Because I've known some guys who have been treated poorly by the Astros. So I've got a little bit of some stuff against the Astros, but they're a Texas team, and I will root for them before I root for anybody else, especially as we get late into the postseason. And obviously, like, watching bad baseball is not fun. And I'm a fan of the game, so I like to see good baseball, and I like to see clubs put up a good fight, especially clubs that have great history in winning, which is the Astros. I mean, the last, 8 years, they've been just absolutely on a tear in the big leagues. So, God, my eye, every morning, I don't know what it is. Every morning I get up and my eyes are just, like, totally fucked. It's probably the allergies, honestly. But, I talked about them a couple days ago on my social platforms about how they were finally at a 500. They're finally a 500 team for the first time this year after starting the worst they've ever been. Since 2016, at least, because the Astros have had some really bad seasons prior to that. And I talked about how, like, the Astros is not, you don't want to fuck with the Astros if they keep this up. Like, they're a good team. They've been a good team. They just had this weird year where they just started off really, really bad. I mean, the lineup is still the same lineup as last year that went hella deep in the postseason. Like, what more are you at? Like, I don't know. They just had a weird year. They just had a weird start to the year. Just didn't seem all the way there. I really think pitching is a big reason of that. They're missing Urquidy. They're missing Garcia. They had Framber. They lost him for a bit because of elbow issues. So they've been hit quite a bit with the injury bug as well as just underperformance all the way through. And I kind of said yesterday, I was like, hey, like, they can't really afford to fuck anything else up right now. They need to keep everybody healthy. And sure as shit, I saw this morning JP France is going to undergo a season-ending shoulder surgery. Now, JP France was one of those guys that got rocked around hard at the beginning of the year. And I know that him and Hunter Brown are pretty much competing for that fifth starting role. I think JP France may have gone to the bullpen for a little bit of a time as well. But they sent Brown down before they sent down France. And I was like, I mean, France has been there for a bit, sure. But, like, I was like, why would they keep France over Brown? Well, it doesn't even matter anyway. So I'm sure, whatever's going to happen now, because he's going to go on the IL for the rest of the year. But at the same time, I don't know how this affects the Astros. I don't think that he was that big a piece. I mean, he was a middle relief guy. I mean, he was kind of like a spot starter kind of guy. He's one of those guys that just bounced around the Astros, like from the bullpen to the starting rotation, back to the bullpen, back to a spot start he's been all over the place. Do I think that this is going to hinder them a lot? Considering that they don't have a lot of depth, it might move some things around, and we won't really know how this is going to affect them till probably like over this weekend. We'll see, and into next weekend we'll kind of know how much of that hole is going to be hurting them. But in all honesty, I don't see that big of a difference in the Astros without JP France. I think that they can pull up a Forrest Whitley. They can bring back a Hunter Brown. They can do whatever they want to do. They have guys that could probably, whether it's one or two guys that could probably fill that role of JP France. Like I said, I don't think he was anything spectacular. He's no like all-star middle reliever or anything, but it's still a blow to your rotation, to your lineup. So it's going to be interesting to see. They've been on a hot streak. They've been playing well. Will this affect them? Time will tell. But now, obviously, we're into almost a month away from the trade deadline. Trade deadline's on 7/31. We're at 6/28 today. So we're pretty damn close. We're pretty close. About a month away. So the waters are still very murky, though. I haven't seen any clear cut where I'm like, yeah, he's going there, he's going here. It's still early. Normally, you get kind of a little bit more inklings on where guys are going to show up. I mean, you got guys like Bo Bichette who are for sure on the trading block and are like, I'm going to get traded. He said yesterday, I'm going to get traded. I'm not surprised if I get traded. I mean, Vlad is another guy who's definitely going to get traded. I don't see how the Blue Jays are not going to turn away, trading him for either more pieces or money. But the first one that I saw, I had seen, obviously the Astros are in the search of a first baseman. They've got John Singletary, that big dude. He's DH'd for them in the past. Step in at first base. He's okay. He's all right. Get the job done. But it's very obvious that the Astros are seeking a true first baseman to replace Jose Abreu in that big hole that he kind of left there. It's obvious they're in the hunt for a first baseman and a power bat in that first baseman. Like I said, something that can truly replace Jose Abreu when he was truly Jose Abreu. I'm not talking about this year's Jose Abreu because shit, I can replace that. I can do better than that, I think. Just kidding. I probably can't. But you get what I'm saying, right? So I think they're going to go after a big bat. And one of the big things that people are saying is that Vlad Jr. is their top prospect to go, or top player to go grab. He's the guy that the Astros want. They want him bad. Astros are normally, at the beginning of the year, they said, hey, we're not going to sell anybody. We're not buying anybody. We have a great team, which was true. But now I think as the injuries have piled and things have changed a little bit, they're like, yeah, we're probably going to have to go get some guys. Or I don't think they're going to trade anybody. I think they're just going to be buyers. Or maybe they trade a little bit for Vlad. To get Vlad, they're going to have to give up some big piece. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that entails. But we will see. But Vlad going to the Astros, I heard Paul, and the reason I think that they're going to be all in on a first baseman is the whole rumors going on Paul Goldschmidt going to Houston not too long ago. Now Vlad has been announced that he's the top guy that they're trying to acquire before the deadline. So it's obvious they're going after a first baseman, but they can't. If I were the Astros, I'm saying, hey, we got to get some other pitching in here too. So if Vlad's too expensive and it's going to kill our chances at getting some other pitching in here, I don't know. Why no one has gotten Trevor Bauer at this point is beyond me, especially when they need somebody. I mean, that's a whole other story. We're not going to talk about that, but that's another guy that's available that no one just wants to pick up. So we're going to see about that at another date. I really don't want to talk about that. I just see him pitching in there, and I'm like, a team could use this. A team could use it. But I think that if they're going to go after a first baseman, they better have some money over for some pitching or at least a couple other pieces to that bullpen, at the very least, because they need it. Another one that was interesting that I saw is Luis Renfroe. I cannot pronounce this dude's name, bro. Renfroe to the Yankees. Another trade that I pray to God doesn't happen because that's not what we need. It's not what the Yankees need. They don't need Renfroe. They've got Verdugo. They've got Judge. They've got Soto. They've got Grisham. They have plenty of outfielders. We don't need another. I'm sorry. What am I thinking? I think I'm this Renfroe and Hunter Renfroe. I get these guys so mixed here. Hold on, time. This is an infielder. Sorry. Timeout. I don't know why I thought this dude was an outfielder. Retrace here. Yes, this would make sense. I get these guys so confused. He makes sense. We need him because we don't have a second baseman. We've got Oswaldo Cabrera, but for whatever reason, the Yankees don't believe in Oswaldo Cabrera at all. Not sure why that's the case there. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is that this guy is a good second baseman. He's an infielder. You can play anywhere. You can put him at third. You can put him at short. You can put him at second. He's going to get the job done wherever you stick him. So that's solid. That would be a good pick. That'd be a good change. I think they could probably go for a little bit more, but going after him from the Angels, they may have a pretty good chance to get him, especially when they're going to need a replacement. Whether that's now for Torres, because let's just say they don't trade Torres at the deadline, because right now I'm sure his value is not very high. They're not going to get a whole lot for him because he's not playing well. They just fucking, it was national news, basically, they benched his ass. So not a whole lot of value there at all, right? So I don't know. Going to be a tough one there. Eric Fed to the Brewers. Fed. That wouldn't be terrible. The Brewers definitely need help on the mound. That's for damn sure. Taylor Ward to the Braves. That would be a great pickup for them. Obviously missed a good chunk last year. He's one of those guys that got hit in the face, missed a good chunk of time. But the Braves need hitting. The Braves need hitting bad. They lost Acuna Jr. Nat Olson's been nowhere to be found. Austin Riley's kind of on a little bit of a streak here, so that's good for them. But at the same time, they're going to need more. They need more, and Taylor Ward would be a great addition there. Brent Rooker to the Royals. I predicted this forever ago. I think that the Royals are going to go after another bat. And Brent Rooker is a great piece to add there. I knew when he broke out, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, when he was in Oakland, he just started ripping baseballs left and right. That's the thing about Oakland, is that they're this breeding ground for great talent, and they never keep it because they're just about putting money in their pocket. Like they have a great drafting system. They have a great, decent farm system, but their big league teams are normally decent. They surprise a lot of people. But then instead of the Athletics looking at this and saying, "Wow, we have a great team. We could build on this. Like, hey, we could really do something and like put our name back in some good graces." They're like, Brent Rooker, how much can we get for him? How much do you think we can get for this guy? How can we trade him for a couple of prospects that'll be good in a couple of years and then we'll make again? That's all they give a shit about, and it's really frustrating. It's so frustrating, honestly. I mean, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I think that him going to Kansas would be a good choice there. Randy Arozarena to the Seattle Mariners. No, maybe if they're really that worried about Julio Rodriguez and him not performing, they're trade partners from what this thing is saying here. And obviously Randy Arozarena is available. The Rays are pretty dismal this year, so they're probably looking to change some things up. But he's been in a lot of different scenarios. He's been in one with the Dodgers. He's been in one with Texas. I've seen him in one with obviously now with the Mariners. So he's a hot commodity right now. A lot of people are going to go after Randy Arozarena because he's a hot bat. He's a great outfielder. He's fast. He's electric. He's fun to watch. He's exciting. He brings a lot to the table. He brings a lot to the table that a lot of other outfielders may be lacking at the point. And there's a lot of teams that could use that on their side right now. I think the Rangers are a good piece. I think that the Dodgers are a team that can't be ignored because they have the money and they're going to pay it. But the Mariners are also in a tough spot too with Julio Rodriguez not playing well and them having some holes in that outfield in that lineup. He'd be a good fit for there. So it's going to really come down to the cash because there are too many people that could really benefit from having him. And I think he's worth more than what he is on the Rays. I think that the Rays had a good run back in 2020, 2021, 2019 even. But to be all 100% honest here, I think that, Arozarena is going to probably land somewhere. He's not going to just stay put. But it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, the waters are so murky right now that a lot of this stuff is still very bundled and jumbled, and we don't know where people are going to end up yet. Bo Bichette to the Dodgers. Okay, that's one that I did read yesterday. I read it in depth in multiple places. The Dodgers need a fucking shortstop, man. The Dodgers need a shortstop. Betts was an okay replacement for what they needed. Betts is now hurt, so it doesn't matter. I would think that they go after a true shortstop and move Betts back to the outfield. Personally, I think that that's what needs to happen. Bo Bichette would shine in LA. He looks like he would belong there more than anyone. He needs a change of scenery. Is a great slugger, great fielder, makes great plays, but has just been kind of lately. And I think this deadline is going to dismantle the big three that Toronto had, which was Kevin Biggio, Vlad Guerrero, and Vlad Guerrero Jr. Sorry, and Bo Bichette. Those are three guys. Dads all played in the big leagues. Dads all pretty much legends in the big leagues, and now here they are, and they're finally dismantled. Kevin is actually on the Dodgers right now. I think Bo Bichette would be a great piece there. They'd get him for a good price. I think he's not, he's only about 3 or 4 years in the league, so a good landing spot for Bo Bichette. I don't see another spot that would really fit him any better. So good spot there. Luis Robert to the Phillies. I think the Dodgers. I heard that the Dodgers. So the next two are obviously him and Crochet. I heard the Dodgers were going to make a big bid for both of them. I don't know how true that will end up being. Considering that that's a lot of money and they need more pitching than they do, I think, Luis here, because if they get some bats back, some bats going, they won't really need him. Although that's a big piece to have. They've had some surprising bursts through, like Teoscar Hernandez, and, Kike Hernandez hasn't been horrible. He's been okay. I don't know. I think that he's going to end somewhere else. I don't think he ends up in the Phillies. I think he might not end up with the Dodgers either. That's another one where I'm just like, I have no idea where he's going to go. Crochet, I think, will end up with Baltimore more than anything. Baltimore have already stated that they need pitching. They've got Corbin Burns. They made that big move in the offseason. But nothing really else behind them. Like I've said, the Orioles, I thought that they would be going after maybe Mason Miller, who'd be a good fit for that closing role that Craig Kimbrell has really struggled in this year. But again, that price seems really high. He may not even move this year. From what it looks like the price is so high that people are just balking and walking away. So it'll be tough. It'll be tough to see. Like I said, the waters are so murky right now. We'll know more in, I think, about 2 weeks. We'll have a better idea where some of these guys are going to land. But right now, it's still strict speculation on what conversations are happening behind closed doors and what phone calls are being made, probably right now as we speak, in front offices. So we're going to see. But Garrett Crochet to the Baltimore Orioles will be a good land. It'd be a good land. I don't think that he lands in Philadelphia, but that's just me. But anyway, guys, some crazy trades happening obviously right now, or at least speculations going on. So it'll be interesting to see. I'd keep your eye on that deadline, keep your eye on that Twitter, see what trackers are moving around, but it'll be interesting. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys listening, whether you're watching or listening on YouTube or Apple or Spotify, wherever you're listening. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm having a blast doing this. Like I've said a million times, this is super fun. So obviously heading into the weekend, we probably won't have any content this weekend. I try to keep my weekends as refreshing as possible so I can come through the week and give you guys the best stuff. So we'll probably catch you guys on Monday. But again, guys, thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys in the next one.